If you're in sales, it's almost a certainty that you want to know how to handle objections. What are the secret words, Andrew? How do I do it? Now, I understand you thinking like that. It's really important to know how to handle objections, but it's far more important to know how to identify them and to prevent them earlier in the call. Basically, any objections that you can identify and get rid of before you drop the price is going to double your chances of making the close, because it's much harder to sell and change objections after price is given. That's because they tend to fear and muddle legitimate objections like price objections with fear. It's hard for you to determine what is a real fear-based objection and what is a real financial objection. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we've got 5 key elements of the script that we've noticed that if we solve each of these areas like a detective, we're going to be very, very likely to make the sale thereafter. So I'm going to go through these briefly. Number 1 is what they've tried before and why hasn't it worked. They need to tell you why it hasn't worked. So if they've had success in another plan, that's okay. That's not a problem. But why aren't you following that one now? Did it feel like something you could sustain for the rest of your life? If they say no and they explain why, because of a principle called cognitive dissonance, they've now basically eliminated that as an option. They've said that it didn't work, it wasn't sustainable long term, and therefore it's no longer a competition for you. So that's really, really important. Number 2 is to establish strong whys, and we talk about this in many other videos. That's just basically making sure that they have reasons to make a change that are worth the cost of your program. If it's a $2,000 program, you need at least $2,000 reasons to want to change at an emotional level. 3 is cost of inaction. We need to identify what happens if they don't change. How is that going to impact their health, their time and enjoyment of life down the line with friends and family, kids, grandkids, maybe their longevity of life, maybe their energy, their self-confidence, their pain levels, all sorts of things. They need to know the cost of inaction so that they feel motivated to act today. The last 2 steps, number 4, is that they need to tell you that this isn't something that they can do on their own. If you've built up enough overwhelm by helping them understand that nothing's worked in a sustainable way, the why is strong and the cost of inaction is painful, now they're starting to feel overwhelmed and they know that they need some help. We want them to verbalize that once again so that cognitive dissonance principle comes into act. And it means that it's very hard for them to disagree with themselves in just a moment when we drop the price. Now, the final part is basically to identify fears by trying to tease them out before price. And the way we do this is by asking a really powerful question with very intentional tonality, pitch, inflection, etc. Do you feel that this program could potentially get you to your goals? Now, I say that in a doubtful tone because I don't want to bulldoze them and have them say yes. I want them to feel confident being unconfident. So I want them to say, yeah, I guess. In that case, I can say, look, hey, I sensed a little bit of uncertainty there. Do you mind if I ask, what's making you feel uncertain? And guess what? All of a sudden, all of their fears are going to start pouring out. And they're going to say, well, I'm not sure about what you're going to make me eat. I feel like I don't understand the exact details of the program yet, Andrew. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever they say, I can then handle that specifically related to that situation. The only caveat I'm going to give here is when they give you fears, make sure you understand what they're really afraid of. Sometimes they'll say, I don't know what you're going to make me eat. They don't care. What they care about is that you're not going to make them eat things that either are going to be too time consuming or that they dislike, things that will fit in with their family. So you need to make sure you understand exactly what they want to know. Once you understand, you can give them the answer. Okay, so guys, if you do those 5 things, you're going to minimize the vast majority of objections on your calls and your close rates are going to massively appreciate it. Thanks.